Hello guys, it's Ethan with Darkness Dragon World Deep SP Talica.
It's finally happening, guys.
My buddy's Talica. Yes, buddying Talica is bad, but we'll get on to him later. Size zeros, 2 headless headhunt jailer Sai, 113. Size 0, when it attacks, both players mill 1. And if you have 10 or more, then if I have 10 or more in my drop zone, I put a card from a soul on my opponent's field into the drop zone. So it's good for getting rid of soul, and it's good, and it's extra mill. Size 1s, 4 dead of a bat. When my opponent's monster attacks, I mill 1. I mill 1 of my own cards. If it's a monster or item, I deal 1 damage to my opponent. If it's a spell, I take 1 damage, and if it's an impact, I deal 3 damage to my opponent. Interesting thing, if it's an impact monster, I deal 4 damage because it's both an impact and a monster.
Which is sketty.
We don't have an impact monster yet, so until we get impact monster Talica, then we're safe for that one. Next we have Thousand Limb Jailer, Cadvel, 2/1, size 1. If you have 6 or more cards in your drop zone, this card gets power plus 3000 and it has move. So it's basically just a 3/5 with move, and the move is what makes it good because it saves on having to do shields all the time, unless your opponent has penetrate. Size 2s, 4 Extreme Prisoner's Winger. On entry, it's a 6/6, size 2 on entry, mill 2. So it's extra milling and its stats are really good. Size 3s. 1 Faceless Black Dragon Lace Face, 7/7, size 3, 2 gauge to call it, and when it enters, you mill 2, your opponent mills 2, and then if there's a monster among them, you destroy a monster in your opponent's field, and it has double attack.
Nice.
The other one is Black Eye Demonic Dragon, Blag Zavath, 8/8, size 3, 2 gauge. When it deals damage to your opponent, they mill 2, and if there are 10 or more cards in your opponent's drop zone, it gains 2 crit and penetrate, so it becomes an 8/8 with penetrate, and it has double attack. Next, the Buddy. 4 Black Dragon of Demise, Death Talica. It's a 10/3 with the core cost of 4 gauge. Then put all deep from your attribute into this card, deep from your drop zone into this card's soul. When it is attacked or when it would leave the field, you may put 3 cards from this card's soul on the bottom of your deck. If you do nullify the attack or stop it from prevent it from leaving the field. This card cannot get Soul Guard and it has double attack. So basically, you make a massive monster from all your milling, sit on it all game, and win. Because you just wear down your opponent's hand, so they either deck out or you win just with constant 2 things for 2. Next, we also have 2 of the Evolve form. It is literally a clone of Talica, but instead of putting 3 to the bottom of your deck, you put 2, and it's a 12/4 instead of a 10/3. But the core cost is a 2 gauge, and you put it on top of a size 3. Put it on top of a size 3 deep monster, so any monster that doesn't have Talica, but you want to put it on top of Talica, and then you put the top 3 cards of your deck into its soul. So, if you put it on anything else that isn't Talica, you basically got the 3 lives of it, because it's put 2 to bottom each time, it gains 3 soul, so that plus the monster's 4, so you got 3 lives of it if you just put it on top of any size 3 monster. But you want to put it on Talica, so if you have 9 times with Talica surviving of putting 3 cards to bottom, that's 21. Put this, that is 24. That is 12 times he survives. No.
It's 2 until you have 24 calls, it'd be 12 times.
Yeah, 12 times he survives instead of 9. So he gains an extra 3 lives basically, and also his stats are better. That 1k extra defense is so much better, so more often than 3k is. 4k stops a lot more than you think it would. Yeah. If we could get an evolve form that's 5k or even 6k or 7k, that'd be amazing. That's just what the deck needs. It doesn't need double attack or triple attack. Penetrate or higher defense would help the deck. Spells. 2 deadly boost. Counter. Put the top 3 cards of your deck into the gauge. And at the end of the turn, put all cards from your gauge into your drop zone. So it fuels your drop zone and it fuels your gauge. So you get to go into Talica. So if you have 1 gauge and Talica in hand, cast this, gain 3 gauge, you've got the 4 that you need to call Talica. And it's counter as well, so that's not too bad. Next we have 2 Million Edge. Pay a life, both players mill 2, and then I get to draw a card. I only will do it once per turn. I did have run 4, but then you with the amount of pay a life casts that this card has, you just basically killed yourself because by using 4 of these, you basically went saw them a lot, and so you kept using it to get the skill of draw, but then you basically just killed yourself by the effects of paying a life.
Yep.
Next, 2 copies of a card that's bad in every single Darkness Dragon War deck apart from Deep. Devil Stigma. Cannot cast it during the final phase. Mono. Matt. Leave it. And counter, destroy a monster in your field. If you do, put the top 2 cards of your deck into your gauge and you're getting life. So any card that is in the center, like that, or if you move with that, it's blocking a center, but if your opponent has penetrate, you still want to move it, so then they start to attack it, wasting an attack, because then you can just cast this, destroy the monster, and gain 2 gauge in life. So not only is that filling the gauge for Talica, it's also giving you life, and it's also stopping an attack. So it's basically an extra nullify if you have a monster in the center. So that is really good. It's not really good in other Darkness Dragon Wood decks, but it's good in Talica. 2 Death Gauge Timer. Again, another card that's not really too good in many other Darkness Dragon Wood builds, apart from Talica. Death Gauge Timer. Its cast cost is you put top 5 cards of your deck into your cast cost soul face up. Set, so it's minions on the field. And at the beginning of an attack phase, including your opponent's, you put a soul from this card into your gauge, and at the end of turn, if there are no cards in this card's soul, you put this card into drop zone. If you do, both players put their gauge into the drop zone. So it fills up the drop zone that you need, but it also kills your opponent's gauge and yours. So it can be good and bad.
Double-edged sword.
Yes, but if you it helps you. It's more gauge excel in the deck basically, and that's what they need. Free Abyss Symphony, the only deck that runs free basically in Darkness Dragon Wood. Most decks only run about 2. We need the draw power in Talica, and it's also extra draw power, and it also a gauge, basically 6 or less life, only cast it once per turn, pay gauge, draw 2. So it's really good for paying the gauge to get more cards in the drop, and also extra 2 cards for drawing. Next, free Apocalypse Death Shield. Spell, pay gauge, cast cost, counter, choose one of the following, choose and use one of the following 2. During an attack in your opponent's turn, nullify the attack, or during this turn's attack phase, all Black Knights on your field, monsters on your field are regarded as a buddy monster. We don't use the second effect. What's important about it, and the reason why we use it instead of Darkness Dragon Shield or Midnight Shadow, is it's a shield with a deep ability, with a deep attribute. So it goes into the Soul of Talica.
Important for Talica.
Next, for Bloody Dance. Counter, choose a deep monster on your field, give it free if you can counter attack.
Basically, what is it called?
Drago Energy Clown.
Drago Energy Clown for deep, yeah, that's it.
Which is decent with old Talica and both new Talicas. Because it's 3k and 4k, your opponent was most like swinging with it with one attack, with a weak monster, you can easily just kill it. So it's a good 1-for-1. Excellent! Mill 5, gain a gauge. You obviously want a million, you need gauge, so you're in it.
Yep, most old Talica.
For Gibson, the first item that I've ever put into any Talica deck ever. Basically, it's a 5/1 item. You equip it by paying a gauge, and it has the act ability of putting the top card of your deck into your gauge. So top card of your deck into your drop zone, so you mill 1, and you pay a gauge. If you do, you draw 1. So it's extra drop power, and it fills the drop zone by 2 cards. So just on your first turn, by equipping this and doing literally nothing else, equipping this and using its skill, you get the drop zone filled by 3 cards. So that's 1 life already for Talica. And next, a deck that I personally like, and this will probably come across as bad on forums and stuff or whatever, but I personally like to play 2 Blood Dragon Ceremony Bloody Operates. It is an impact, and it costs 2 gauge, and you counter, call a Black Dragon monster from your drop zone by paying its core cost. This will be replaced with a size 3 Executioner from the Zwei for the triple deck when we get it, but this allows you to, if you mill out most of your Talicas or you're not seeing it and you're just sat on a lot of gauge, this allows you to go swing with by weak monsters in the final phase, cast this 2 gauge, and then call Talica from the drop zone, and then you just sat with Talica with like a million assault that they have to deal with on my opponents on my final phase. So they're not expecting like, okay, he doesn't have much left to do, he just swing with his monsters, that's fine, I can kill him next turn, and they just slam down Talica for 6 gauge. Yes, it's 6 gauge and it's heavy, but it is worth it, and it does save you sometimes. That has been the Death Talica profile. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Make sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and also recommend us other deck profiles, and we'll try our best to try and get them done. As always, happy gaming.